Welcome to Vsb News Online for Tuesday, April 28th. I'm Peter Cattell. Government's decision to close the Paget post office is not sitting well with the Bermuda Industrial Union. Flanked by members of the General Post Office, BIU President Chris Ferbert commented on what he called the disrespect shown by government and questioned the motive of such a move that was made without consultation.
People might be saying, well, what's the real issue? Because I think the press statement points out that even though there may be 4 staff members that's going to be affected by the closure, nobody's going to lose a job because they're going to absorb them in other post offices. And as a result of that, we shouldn't really be concerned. We are concerned about the lack of disrespect, particularly when we wind the clock back almost a year ago to date. And I think it was on April 29th, 2014, when the decision was made then to close 3 other sub-post offices. And in consultation with the BPSU, with the BIU, that announcement was made that those 3 sub-post offices were closed in 6 months' time. But then Mr. Premier, the Honorable Michael Dunkley, was in the meeting. The PS was in the meeting. The Postmaster General was in that meeting a year ago, to that date, almost the 29th of April, 2014. So you have to ask yourself the question, the decision that was made on Friday to close the sub-post office of Paget as of the end of May, without any consultation with the BIU, you have to wonder, where does this decision come from? It's my information from the team that you see flanked on my left and right and behind me. These are all post office workers. The president on my immediate left, the organizer on my immediate right. My information is that there was a JCC meeting held on March 31st. The announcement was made by the Postmaster General about the potential closure of another couple of sub-post offices, but just the potential. He went on to say that before, because apparently, maybe the Premier and him had had conversations, recognizing that we had just had the closures of these other sub-post offices, he said he would need a year to do the assessment as to whether or not it's going to be feasible now to close another sub-post office. Now, if this was said to our team on March 31st, we're only talking about a month later, and the decision has been made to close Paget Post Office. Why the urgency?
With a huge Bermuda delegation supporting him, Premier Michael Dunkley says he is enjoying his first attendance at the renowned annual RIMS conference in New Orleans. He spoke to Vsb News' Brian Darby after touring the assembly of booths representing the entire spectrum of the world's insurance industry.
This is my first RIMS, Brian, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here with the Deputy Premier and Minister Gibbons. Bermuda's got a very strong contingent of over 200 people today, and we've taken the opportunity to meet the chair of RIMS, Mr. Robert, and walk around the floor and continue to spread the message that we are indeed open for business in Bermuda and continue to strengthen the relationships that are required. As you know, Brian, we live in a very competitive and fast-changing world, and as a small jurisdiction, we need to do all we can to continue to talk about what we have to offer, to build those relationships, and to nurture as we move forward. And I think we've had a great morning so far today. I'm looking forward to the rest of the day. We've got a lot planned. And shortly, I will also pay a courtesy call on the Mayor of New Orleans, Mayor Landry. So we're going to City Hall and just let him know a bit about Bermuda and talk a bit about what New Orleans has done to be successful. Opportunity at the reception tonight to address the guests that we have. I think the main points I will emphasize is that everyone should have confidence in Bermuda. We have a strong leadership team right through the Bermuda government, through BDA, and all the organizations that are out there promoting Bermuda and selling Bermuda. They should have confidence in us, and they should feel free in working with us because we will listen to the needs of the industry as we move forward, and we will continue to do everything we can to allow them to be successful in the businesses that they run. We realize that we live in a very big world, but business can move very quickly in any jurisdiction they want. and we will try to make the business experience in Bermuda more enjoyable and more beneficial for everyone. If that happens, then Bermuda will benefit, and I think we've had a good track record in the past, and we'll continue to have a good one going forward in the future.
The definition of corporate governance was outlined to Hamilton Rotarians today by a veteran in the field, the chairman of the Bermuda branch of the Institute of Directors, Roger Gillett. He later told Charles Webb that the Institute is increasing its local profile with courses that encompass all the rudiments of good governance.
We have come a long way, as is evidenced by the fact that a good proportion of our membership is female, but we haven't yet gone far enough.
Well, I was going to ask you, are there any people who look like me?
There are indeed people who look like you, particularly taking our courses. I think a lot of people see taking these courses and qualifying as a route, ultimately, to serving as a company director. Will that be immediate? Maybe not, but it doesn't do any harm to be prepared for the day when it comes. Yes. Good governance and the principles of good governance apply equally to publicly held companies, privately held companies, quangos, and indeed charitable organizations. Because good governance is good governance. And the three topics that I mentioned, the three tenets of good governance are accountability, probity, meaning honesty, and transparency. And this applies to all of those organizations equally, because everyone has a stakeholder. They may not have a shareholder, but they have a stakeholder. They have somebody who has a keen interest in the success of the organization.
So how can government benefit from IOD courses?
Well, we've already spoken to entities within the government sphere, if you like, but mostly boards, distinct boards, rather than government itself. But of course, governance at its highest level involves government. And who are the stakeholders of government? We are. Every person who votes in Bermuda is a stakeholder. Make no mistake. And we care about what the government is doing. Therefore, they need all of the skills that they can possibly get together to perform the job. Are there things that we could provide to them? Yes, I believe there are. My dream for Bermuda would be that we have a number of people who are given the training so that they do have the knowledge and skills and can perform well in the boardroom situation.
And we'll be back with more news right after this.
In an effort to make Bermuda's roads safer, and in partnership with Bermuda Police Service and the Bermuda Road Safety Council, Defon's Broadcasting is launching a safe driving campaign. Complete with thumb bands, come into Defon's Broadcasting and 94 Reed Street and make the commitment to drive safer and slower for yourself. Your voice could be featured on the radio. Get yourself a thumb band as a reminder of your commitment to drive safer and with fewer distractions. While you're at it, why not get one for someone in your life who also needs a reminder that our roads do not discriminate. They can take anyone's life. Let's drive safe, Bermuda, and arrive alive. Peace and love. Safe journeys.
In the first 6 months of its contract with the Bermuda Tourism Authority, the island's new public relations agency, Turner PR of New York, has managed to create a wave of positive publicity which bodes well for the future appeal of Bermuda to travelers. Brian Darby has the story.
Between October and March, the BTA's public relations team has generated significant buzz with 131 articles online and in print, including high-profile cover stories. Over that 6-month period, Bermuda has been on the cover of Condé Nast Traveler, and Boston Globe magazine, was named Outside Magazine's Best Island, and received multi-page features from the New York Magazine and Air Canada's in-flight magazine En Route. When the BTA generates editorial coverage for the island, each hotel, restaurant, tour operator or other partner included in the article received an email from the Tourism Authority alerting them to the coverage. The coverage is also shared across BTA's social media channels. Dozens of tourism industry stakeholders have been featured in the 100-plus articles since October of last year. Online, there have been more than 360 million estimated impressions over the same period. Storylines have featured a wide variety of Bermuda experiences, from food culture and wreck diving to great golf and fashion inspired by the island. Brian Darby reporting for Vsb News.
The Bermuda Water Safety Council will be holding another of its popular hands-on boating seminars at the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club on Sunday, May 17th from 1 p.m. to 4:30. Chairman Ralph Richardson reports that this year's major theme will be marine communications.
This year it's going to be similar to last year. It's going to be practical. This time, though, there's not going to be any classroom work. It's going to be all practical. So you won't be sitting in a class for any time. We're going to have everyone outside operating boats and understanding how they work, operating life-saving equipment. But the focus this year is going to be on marine communications. We found most boaters buy a boat with a radio and they've never used it. Many don't turn it on, or they're afraid to use it. And certainly in an emergency, they don't know how to use it. So we have Dennis Rowe from Bermuda Harbor Radio will be there. We're going to have several radios, and everyone will be able to practice calling in an emergency. So we'll give them a sort of a scenario. They'll have to call it in and say all the things that are absolutely necessary if they're going to be rescued. We've all heard emergency calls where the person doesn't give the location, doesn't say how many people are in it, and then the battery dies because of a fire. So we want sometimes you only have one chance to get a message in. So we're going to be practicing that. I think that's going to be something that'll be an eye-opener for everyone. There's been a new development in marine radios. It's called digital select calling, and many new radios now come with DSC. Instead of just talking on the radio and there's everybody coming in on the same frequency, if you go to the DSC frequency, you have like a telephone number. So then you get individual boat-to-boat talk, so that it's not quite as crowded. So that's something new, and Dennis is going to be talking about that as well.
Bermuda will once again be joining the world in celebrating International Jazz Day on Thursday in recognition of the UNESCO-inspired belief that jazz has had a unique role in uniting people around the globe. Noted jazz musician Wendell Shine Hayward is laying on the reading of a proclamation to music at the City Hall at 12:15, and a celebration dinner and jazz concert at the Spinning Wheel that evening in honor of Clarence Tootsie Bean. We spoke to both gentlemen about the life of a jazz legend.
I think it's very significant that this does actually take place at the Spinning Wheel, and there we will have our final jazz supper for the month, where we will be honoring one of Bermuda's last living jazz legends, Clarence Tootsie Bean. He's a mentor. He's an inspirer. He is just a phenomenal guy. On top of all of that, a family man. And this is without even talking about the talent that he has brought, not only to Bermuda but also overseas in his travels.
He's one of those rare creatures that learned his trade in Bermuda and took it overseas and was a great success, and eventually came home.
Learned his trade in Bermuda, and back in the day, both he and Lance, those guys, they had their challenges, similar to some of the challenges that us as musicians today are having, and they felt as though they needed to just leave the island.
Every gift you have is a God gift, and I got to say that I was blessed. I was blessed with the talent that I got, and I always said that I would like to tour. I would like to tour the world, show just show what I had, and strangely enough, I got the opportunity, and like lots of people were saying, "Hey, man, that's a big, that's a big world out there." So I said, "Hey, I will prepare myself," and like I was telling Shine, don't let anybody ever say that you can't do something. You always say you can, So, and
that's good advice to every musician.
Never say you can't. And I always tell, and like my family, I got to take my hat off to them. You know, they knew what I wanted to do, and they were right along with me, you know.
And now we turn to Earl Baisden with the latest from the sports desk.
The Bermuda Cricket Board confirmed 2 changes to the national squad selected for the upcoming ICC Americas World 2020 qualifiers that will take place in Indianapolis, USA. The qualifiers will run from May 3rd through the 9th. Craig Crockle has withdrawn from the team and has been replaced by Jason Anderson, while Malachi Jones has been withdrawn due to injury and has been replaced by Jacoby Robinson. The North Village Community Club have confirmed Richard Todd as their new Premier Division head coach. Todd has signed a 2-year deal with Bermuda's most decorated club. Meanwhile, Dante Levrock began his professional career the same way he started his FIFA World Cup international career, by scoring a header. Levrock was making his Harrisburg City Islanders debut on Friday evening and scored a diving header in the 58th minute. Speaking to VSB Sports, Levrock said, "It feels amazing to have scored my first professional goal on my debut, and it is also pleasing to score the equalizing goal." Levrock concluded by saying, "Hopefully I can score a few more goals this season." Meanwhile, the official FIFA referee refresher course and introduction course put on by the Bermuda Football Association Referees Committee concluded at the Cedar Bridge Academy. FIFA instructor Rohan Thorburn talked about the culture of Bermuda and across the Caribbean for officiating.
The culture is not much different from across the Caribbean. The level of participants is the same level of ability across the region, so to speak. What it takes is to apply oneself, since as we are standardizing the culture in terms of have a uniform approach to refereeing worldwide.
Now, obviously, a few of these, this is the first time doing something of this nature. What are some of the things you guys have been instructing them to expect, learn about themselves, and learn about the game?
It is basically the best practices that FIFA has handed down as it relates to standardizing the decision and the way in which we operate as officials on the field. Plus, the fitness aspect of becoming fitter and being able to service the game in a better way.
Now, the game is evolving in the Caribbean as far as CONCACAF, CFU, now that the World Cup is around. The level of officiating in each country, can we see that now coming on even par of some sort?
That is exactly what we are aiming for, so that we standardize and bring the level up to an acceptable standard, so that the whole CFU, CONCACAF, and by extension FIFA will have better officials out there on the field.
Bruce DeGrilla and Kyle Webb represented Central Arizona during the 2015 Triton Invitational at the USC San Diego in California. DeGrilla competed in the men's long jump, where he finished 8th with a top leap of 6.87 meters. Webb finished second in Heat 1 of the men's 100 meter, that also saw him finish second overall with a time of 10.68. Webb won Heat 1 of the men's 200-meter dash with a time of 21.47 that saw him finish first overall. He ran the second leg for the Central Arizona men's 4x100-meter relay team that finished first with a time of 40.32. He also ran the anchor leg for the men's 4x400-meter relay team that also finished first with a time of 3:17.28. The Bermuda National Under 10 and Under 11 rugby teams had successful 4-day tour in the UK. The teams competed in the St. Knots Festival of Rugby, with the Under 11s coming up short in the final against an experienced and powerful outfit from Bishop Stratford Rugby Union Football Club, and the Under 10s finished runners-up in their pool, losing a solitary match against the host club. The 2015 Kitty Michaels Ladies Golf Tournament came to an end at the Port Royal Golf Course, with Toronto winning the low gross team title with a score of 521 points, while Puerto Rico were crowned the low net team champions with a score of 448. Suzanne Rickard from Montreal was crowned the 2015 individual low gross Kitty Michael champion, while Maureen Blake from Jamaica won the low net title. On a memory-filled evening, Bermuda Sullivan Phillips was inducted into the Slovakian League, Predez's basketball club's Hall of Fame. In baseball news, the Cubs took the last of 7 lead changes in a back-and-forth affair against the Cardinals, securing a 7-4 victory at Kennedy Field in YAO Cal Ripken Baseball League action. Patrick Nisbet concluded competing in Italy. Nisbet and Farah Van Ketchlup finished 26th, competing in the 1.45-meter Table A class. The pair clocked a time of 66.87, but they had 4 penalty fault points. Jillian Teixeira competed in the international horse jumping event in Belgium. Riding Lac Val, she finished 12th, competing in the 1.40-meter 2 phases class. The pair recorded a clear round time of 28.91. Teixeira and Tamarino finished 16th in the 1.45-meter Table A class. Teixeira and Tamarino clocked a time of 76.36, but they had 4 penalty fault points. The Bermuda Volleyball Association has named their 2 women's beach teams who will represent Bermuda in the Beach Volleyball Continental Cup. The Continental Cup is the 2016 Olympic qualifying tournament for beach volleyball, and Bermuda is participating in the first round being held in Antigua from May 1st through to the 3rd. Bermuda will be represented by the teams of Lisa LeBlanc and Rebecca White, while the other team is Stacey Dorsch and Vicky Stevenson. In Friesenbrook-Meyer Continental Bowling League action last evening at the Work Lanes, it saw the Spice Nicks crown the league champions following their 20-10 win over the Nifty Rollers. New Hope defeated the Invaders 24-6, while the Oddballs defeated the Cubs 20-10. The Cricket Licky Laundry defeated the Pinjammers 16-14, and Bermuda Pest Control defeated the Pinsplitters 26-4. I'm Earl Based reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Wednesday, April 29th, there will be a mix of sun and cloud with late-night periods of rain and showers. Winds west-northwesterly, moderate to strong, easing moderate by afternoon, and light to moderate by evening, backing southwesterly overnight. High near 72 Fahrenheit and a low near 63 Fahrenheit. This weather forecast is the courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Thank you for watching Vsb News Online for Tuesday, April 28th. I'm Peter Cattell.